All right. Well, hey, welcome to. My voice is cracking. I apologize for that. I have a bottle of Bai here that is going to help hopefully get me get through this. Yes, there we go. That's a little bit better. I am currently getting over being under the weather a little bit, so my throat is not helping me much at all, actually. But I am going to try to get through this, and really, I'm not in any pain or anything like that. It's more comical than anything else. So you can have that and go with it. So hello, everyone. Thank you for joining me here today. We are going to be taking, I am going to be taking your questions and fielding your questions as best I can. I can't promise that I'll answer everything, of course, as usual, but I'll get to as many of them as I possibly can. And without further ado, we're going to go ahead and get to it. Derek Jankowski, hello, welcome from Toronto. Very good. Which warband do you like the most in Shadespire? Right now, I think my favorite warband in Shadespire are the Orcs. Now, I believe that there is a dwarf warband coming out for it, so I'm holding my my final thoughts, so to speak, is that. But right now, I think the Orcs are my favorite. Right behind them, the Eternals, the Stormcast Eternals, and then third is probably going to be the cursed guys. I can't remember what they're called. The name's slipping my mind right now. The Reavers, I guess you could call them. And then my last one is the skeletons. I just don't like how fragile the skeletons are. I like the concept behind them where they keep coming at you, but I just don't like playing them that much. So that's that. Let's see. Is a review for Shadows in Kyoto coming soon? And have you heard anything about U.S. distribution? Well, Jerry, matter of fact, I just finished recording my review for Shadows in Kyoto this morning. I did the tutorial section of it yesterday, and then I came in this morning and finished up the intro and the outro for it. So, yes, that's coming very soon. As a matter of fact, I believe it's tomorrow it's going to be posting. I don't know anything about U.S. distribution. I don't keep my finger on that pulse as well as, like maybe Tom does or anything like that. But, so, yeah, it's coming tomorrow. And no, I don't know about distribution. A follow-up question to that was, I seem to be the one that reviews the most Emperor S4 games. Have you been seeking them out, or has it just worked out that way? Well, with Shadows in Kyoto, definitely. I sought that one out. The other ones, like Roundhouse and Hanami Koji. Hanami Koji I just kind of stumbled onto because I wasn't... honestly, I was looking for a small game to review because I needed to sneak in another review, a long time ago for my week, and it looked simple enough, so I gave it a try, and I didn't expect to like it as much as I did. So I literally, well, not literally, but I figuratively, literally stumbled upon Hanami Koji and liking it so much. So no, I don't seek them all out, but at this point, they're pretty much just going to fall into my lap. And I don't mind that because most of what they're coming out with, especially in the smaller box formats, like Hanami Koji, Shadows in Kyoto, Mystery of the Temples, which I played last night, and that's coming soon as well as far as review. They're games that I enjoy because they're very simple, they're very easy to teach, but at the same time, there's a lot of depth and strategy in them. So I'm okay with that. I'm still trying to get Sorcerer's Stones to the table. We've had a very comical and yet disappointing try with it. I got a review copy at Essen, took it back, and I was punching it out very, very anticipatingly, and I found out that I was missing some components. So took it back to the booth the next day, and I actually fumbled with it and accidentally dumped a bunch of components all over their booth. And as I was helping them clean that up, they were like, "Here, just take this one." And so I was like, "Okay, cool, that's done." at game night last night, was going to break it out, and I'm missing one of the alchemy tiles. So I don't know who lost it. It probably was me. I'll take the brunt for it. But I've been trying to get that one to the table now. It's twice now, and it's missing components. So that's unfortunate, but you know that's just how it goes. Let's see here. Good morning to everyone. Hello, gang. Hi, Kabuki. Jerry backloading questions. Ooh, Kabuki got you, Jerry. Sorry. Interesting dog tag. Yeah, the dog tag is actually something that I bought for my daughter. The tag actually says that there is a girl that has captured my heart, and she calls me daddy. And this came with another pendant that's in the same, you know, in a heart shape that says Daddy's Girl on it. And so she wears that half. I wear this half. So it was a cool thing. I bought that for her, and then I bought other dog tag symbol thingies. I saw them on Facebook for my sons that basically just, you know, are encouraging, loving words from, you know, and I just thought it was a cool thing for them. So yeah. Good morning from Chicago. Hello. Let's see. Have I tried Burning Suns? No, I have not. Just get real close to the mic and whisper your answers. How is this doing? Is that better? No, I'm not going to do that. It's just a little creepy. So what is the best Ticket to Ride map? Wow. My favorite Ticket to Ride game is Markland. As far as the different maps that are concerned, I do like the UK map that they came out with Pennsylvania on the other side. I like the different changes that map brings into the game, but I think overall my favorite one is Markland. I like the passenger mechanic. I like the fact that it's Germany. So yeah, I think that's my favorite one, but I also enjoy Nordic countries. I also enjoy UK. And those are probably my second and third in no particular order. Let's see. Hello from England. Hello. All over the world. International audience. Awesome. All right. Ooh, I can get like a movie trailer coming soon. No, I'm not going to do that. In Essen, last year, you mentioned a new game prototype that you had seen played that would be TI3, now TI4 Lite, that you were looking forward to. Any news on when this game would be available? Actually, that game that was being touted by the designer to me as a TI3 Lite, or now TI4 Lite, is a game called Warpgate, and it is going to be on Kickstarter in January. They've already started a Kickstarter, but they didn't feel like they had got the word out enough. So they stopped the Kickstarter a couple months ago, and they were at Essen with it again, demoing more. It was actually one of the games that I said that if you have the chance, you should go, and you're going to be at Essen, you should go give it a whirl. That's Warpgate. It's by Wolf Designer Games, or actually just Wolf Designer is the name of the company. But they have a Kickstarter coming out in, I believe, January. So go check it out. I enjoyed the prototype. I showed it to at least one person in the industry, and they enjoyed it as well. So I think it's a great game. You should try it out and give it a whirl. What do you think about Near and Far? Near and Far, I believe, is the new one from Red Raven Games, and I enjoy it a lot. I like the story-driven aspect that is very prevalent in the game. I liked Above and Below and all of the other games that kind of have the same feel to them as far as, you know, the different aspects, but I liked the story aspect of Near and Far a lot better, so I did enjoy it, but I've only played it once, so that's just kind of more of a first impressions than anything else. Have you looked into the Enigma Box Kickstarter? No, I haven't. Sorry. Kickstarter is not a big thing for me. The only time that I really look at Kickstarter is if I'm like oohing and ahhing over how well a Kickstarter is doing. I don't spend a lot of time researching Kickstarter games. My usual fare is games that have been produced already. I've only kickstarted one game in my entire career on Kickstarter, and so I'm just not that big of a Kickstarter person. So every once in a while, you know, I'll see an ad on BGG that strikes my fancy or something like that, and it's a Kickstarter game, so I'll click through on that. But more often than not, I usually stay away from Kickstarters because I just don't have that in my budget as far as money that I can disposably spend like that. So yeah, no, I don't know anything about Enigma Box. There are so many bad combat systems out there: Ninja All-Stars, Talisman, Dungeon Quest, Epic Roll, etc. What combat system do you actually think is the best? You know, that's a hard question. That's a difficult question to answer because I don't think that any one combat system would work well in all games that have combat resolution in them or have a need for combat resolution. So what makes a combat system good is usually contextual to that specific game. And it works for that game where it might not work for another game. The Command and Color system I enjoy a lot. I don't think it's the best combat system out there, but as far as combat resolution is concerned, I think it's pretty simple and straightforward. When you roll dice, you're not trying to roll a certain number or get over and above a certain number or anything like that. You're just trying to roll the silhouettes of the kind of unit that you're attacking. And I like that simplicity. And then that coupled with the card-driven aspect of the Command and Color system is really enjoyable for me. So while I don't think it's the best out there, it's probably one of my favorite ones. So yeah, I think that combat systems, whether they're good or not, is usually contextual. I also think that possibly, can't think of any set examples, but I think if a combat resolution system doesn't work well in one game, it might work well in another. So again, it's contextual from both ends of the spectrum there. Let's see. Which do you think results in a more honest review or a game? Someone who thinks knows that they will like the game, or someone that thinks knows they won't like the game? Well, Mark, I think that the point of your question, I think, is a little bit askew. I usually try, now I know I'm going to, sometimes I know I'm going to like a game. I still try to go into a review with some level of subjectivity or objectivity. I don't know, one of those two. Hopefully you know what I'm talking about. I think the NyQuil that I took last night might still be having an effect. But hopefully you get, I try to come at each game that I review in a very journalistic output. Now, sometimes that just is impossible because I like the game so much, or I know I already like the game. For example, Pandemic Legacy Season 2, I knew I was going to, well, I had a very likely feeling that I was going to enjoy because I enjoyed Season 1 so well. So they would have had to really made some bad, drastic changes for me to not like the game. Now, the level to which I liked it was dependent upon the experiences that I had with it, and had a great time. Something like Blood Rage. That one has simmered for me over a while. When I first came at it, I was like, okay, yeah, this is pretty cool. I like the Viking theme. That's kind of a soft spot for me. But I enjoyed all the other mechanics, but it wasn't until after I played that now it's my favorite game of all time. It's that game that I do not mind playing ever. I mean, even at Essen, I've talked about this already, but even at Essen, on a whim, a guy came up to me and said, hey, if I go and buy Blood Rage, will you teach it to me? And this is like on Sunday, 2 hours or 3 hours before the hall was going to close. I was like, yeah, sure, that'd be cool. So sure enough, 20, 30 minutes later, he comes back with a copy, and we sit down and we run through it. And I was able to play it with Andre Nordstrand and this fellow, I can't remember his name, and his friend. And so it's just that kind of thing. But that's not how I felt about it at the very beginning. I came at it over time. Now, getting back to your original question, I really think that it's important for reviewers to try to come at a review in as generalistic a way as possible. I've done reviews before where I thought I was going to like the game and I ended up hating it, and I probably didn't do as good of a job reviewing the game as I could have because I was so emotionally distraught, so to speak, from having been so disappointed by the game. So it's important, I think, to have a very middle-of-the-road approach with reviews, but it's not always possible. Let's see here. I don't have a most anticipated Kickstarter. I just don't. It's not the way my brain works. Aside from the frog, yeah, I got a frog, Jay. He's right here. So anyway, he's comfortable. Loving the beard. Thank you, Colin. Are you planning on going full Viking? Well, my hair does not, my facial hair doesn't grow very fast. So going full Viking like Lance Meister or something like that, that will probably take years upon years upon years. But I don't know if I'm going to go that way. Part of the decision-making process is in my wife's hands as well. So whether she will allow me to do that is part of the question. But I don't have any plans for it. This was actually more of a product of laziness than anything else, because while we were evacuating from Hurricane Irma, I just didn't want to shave. So that week that we were kind of just out and about and coming back and not having power and all that kind of stuff, week to week and a half, I just didn't want to shave. And then at the point where I was able to, I said, well, let's give it a try. And so there you have it. Is there a reason for you and Z not continuing playing Gloom Haven campaign with Tom? Yeah, time is the main thing, because we have other games that we have to get to play and so forth and so. Another part of that, I think, is because Tom enjoys it so much solo. So he took it home with him, and he plays it almost, well, I don't know how much he plays it, but he has put a lot of hours in it in solo mode. So that's part of it as well. Nothing, nefarious is going on. It's just that, we've got other games that we have to play, and coming back to a game that takes a good chunk of time is more difficult. Is there a reason the Memoir 44 campaign books have not gotten a physical reprint? Do you see a reason they may never return? Do you expect an eventual reprint? Well, no, I don't know of any solid factual reasoning why they have not got a reprint. I would imagine they did not sell as much as Asmodee wants them to sell in order to garner another reprint. I get the feeling, although there's no substantial, there's no concrete proof behind this, I get the feeling that Asmodee is just moving forward and not green lighting a lot of different things. I know that the Days of Wonder guys have told me in the past that they do have some Memoir 44 expansions that are going. They just released I believe the Japanese Overlord scenario. So they do have things that are working. It's just that they're being roadblocked, and I mean, I use that in a nebulous way. I don't know really what's going on, but somehow it's just not happening. I know they've had a reprint or a redo of the air pack in the works for a couple of years now, and so I don't know why that hasn't come out, but hopefully soon. I don't know. We'll see. Are you planning to come to UKG Games Expo in 2018? Yes, we are planning on it. Whether we will be able to or not, of course, depends upon how well our Kickstarter does next year in January. But we are planning on it. We've already talked to Tom. And when I say we, I mean Tom. Tom already talked to them at Essen and worked out some of the details of our return and that type of thing. So we are planning on it. We are looking forward to it. So hopefully that will be a good thing. Do you think Pandemic simply fell past Scythe, or is Scythe becoming really that popular? Well, again, that's the people's choice, right? They chose to put Scythe ahead. That means more people voted Scythe higher than they did Pandemic. So I think it's both the same. I think Pandemic fell past it because it's more popular right now. Do I think it's going to hold the first position? I don't know. People's Choice Awards are fairly whimsical when it really comes down to it. As far as well as my top 100 and Tom's top 100, I think they are more current than spanning any window of time. I think that if I made my top 100 now, because I've had other games played since I've made it, there would be other games possibly, and some of the games that might have moved around even past the 2 or 3 months that it's been since I've made the list. So top 100s are not the, at least from my point of view, they're not the set in stone kind of lists that a lot of people think they might be. I think they're a little bit more whimsical than that. So we'll see. Let's see here. Let's see here. What is something about the industry that really bothers you? Jay, are you trying to get me in trouble? I don't have anything that really bothers me. I mean, there's a bunch of nitpicky type stuff. Like, I've mentioned when companies release a game and 2 expansions for the game at the same time, meaning that they put the thought into those expansions before. I don't know. That usually rubs me the wrong way. If you have an expansion that's really kind of part of the game that you are simply holding out of it so that you can release it and gain more money, and I understand the industry is about making money. I understand that, but it just, I don't know, it just rubs me the wrong way, I guess you could say. So that would be one thing that kind of gets my goat a little bit. Let's see, just watched the top 100 games of all time. Was wondering, would have Rising Sun made the list if it officially released? Yes, it probably would have. Yeah, I guess so, because I'm having a hard time thinking. I thought it was on my top 100, but I guess it isn't. But if it wasn't, you probably know better than me. It's been so long since I made those lists, and I don't keep that kind of stuff in my mind. Yeah. Matter of fact, if we, next time I do it, it's probably going to be on the top 100. I do enjoy the game a lot. Some of the Kickstarter stuff is probably a little bit over the top for my tastes, but as far as the core box is concerned, the core game, I do really enjoy it. Let's see here. What are some things you would suggest to content creators? Well, I would say be yourself. Don't try to take somebody else's shtick and make it yours. Make up your own shtick. Do things that interest you and be honest about it, so that other people will see your honesty and hopefully enjoy what you're doing as well. Yeah, be yourself. I always see you with that drink. What is it and why do you like it? This is Bai. It is an antioxidant infusion. It has 5 calories per 8 ounces, and I think it's 16 ounces. So it's only like 10 calories. That's one of the main things I like about it. It's very tasteful. I want to say the watermelon one. Maybe not. But there's another one that I like better than this one. This is the Brasilia blueberry one. And it's good. It's probably my second favorite, but I like the other one better. I think it's watermelon something or other. I don't remember what it's called. But I like them a lot basically because it has very few calories. I don't like drinking calories, but my favorite drink is Sobe Life Water, the strawberry dragon fruit ones. But this one will do just fine, and this is cheaper than Sobe Life Water as well. So there you have it. That's what it is, and that's why I like it. Let's see here. Did you get to play Monoliths Batman the board game? Yes, I've played it twice actually. I've played it at UKGE this year, early, where Barry Dublé actually ran the demo for me. He's a great guy. And I was also able to play it at Gen Con. So I was not able to play it at Essen because I'd already played it twice. So I already kind of had a solidified feeling on what I thought about the game. I think it's great. It's really closely based upon the Conan river system, where the overlord has very, not limited, but a very concise things that he can do on his turn, and using the gems as health points and action points and all this other kind of stuff. It's really the same kind of system with minor tweaks and differences here and there to make it a Batman game, rather than just a Conan game with a Batman skin over it. So I do enjoy it. Again, it's always, if you have the opportunity to try it, you should, because I might like something that you don't. But I did enjoy it a lot, yes. Best Tom Petty song. I didn't really like Tom Petty that much, so I apologize for that. But maybe Running Down a Dream? I don't know. Let's see here. No, Benjamin, I was not pulling your leg about all of the things that are going to be on the cruise. That is very true. It does look amazing, and if we're looking at another boat for in the future, and Jason has been just going bonkers over this new boat, but it's going to be a while before we can go on that one. Let's see. Arkham Horror, the card game, Eldritch Horror, or Mansion of Madness 2nd Edition. Which one is better? I have not played Arkham Horror, the card game. I have no desire to. Eldritch Horror I have played, and Mansions of Madness I have played. Out of those two, probably Mansions of Madness 2nd Edition is my favorite. Whether it is better or not, that's something you have to decide. But I like Mansions of Madness with the app a lot better than just regular old Eldritch Horror. Do any publishers seek you for review purposes? No, not that I know of. I just got a box from Mantic. That was the most recent one that they contacted me and said, hey, do you want to... they sent me Star Saga and the collector's edition of All Out War. So I'm currently looking at both of those to be reviewing in the near future. So there you go. Best deck combination in Tyrants of the Underdark? I don't know. I don't play mini games enough to know best combos in any of them. So I really couldn't tell you with Tyrants of the Underdark. It's a great game. Love playing it. But as far as deck combinations and all that kind of stuff, no, I don't. I don't like to give advice on that one. Do I drink alcohol? No, I do not. So what is my favorite? None. I just don't drink alcohol. Let's see. What are the best snacks for gaming, taking into account not being messy, filling, filling and tasty? I like pretzels. Now that might not be very tasty. It's just basically bread and salt. But I like pretzels, and they're not very messy at all. But some of those pretzels you can get that are really, the honey. They have a whole bunch of different kinds of flavors that the pretzels are made with. That's pretty good. But pretzels are my favorite. How often do I get to play TI Twilight Imperium? I've played it twice this year. Do I expect that to change with the 4th edition? While I think that the 4th edition is going to be easier to get to the table, because of my career and having to get all these different games played, it's still difficult to get a game as massive as Twilight Imperium 4 to the table, simply because there are so many other games that we have to play. So devoting an entire day to that one game, which is usually what it works out to be, because you do have to set up, and then playing the game takes a while, and all that kind of stuff. I don't think it'll change that much, because, 2, 3, on a whim 4 times a year, that's enough. I mean, not that I wouldn't want to play it more, but it's just that playing it more than that is really difficult with my schedule. So no, I don't think it'll change, but yeah, I think it is easier to get to the table. Let's see, you called Z Mr. Junior once recently. Is that his proper name? Well, I'm not going to answer that. You let Z answer that. Have I tried Kingdom Death Monster yet? No, I've not. And again, it's the same thing. It's a huge game, and it takes a long time to play. And I know you can break it up into different sessions and all this other kind of stuff, at least from what I've heard about it. I haven't. First of all, I don't have a copy of it to play. And second of all, it's a long game. And third of all, I don't have a desire to play it, and I don't mean to sound snooty there, because that's definitely not what I mean. It's just that for example, I also don't have a desire right now to play Star Wars Legion. I'm a huge Star Wars fan. I love a lot of the things that Fantasy Flight does, but I have no desire to play Star Wars Legion, their new miniatures, Star Wars miniatures game. I just don't. I walked by their booth a few times where they were demoing it, and I was interested. I watched, in passing mostly, but I just don't have a desire to play it. So when I say I don't have a desire to play Kingdom Death Monster, it's not this nefarious, I'm just not going to play that game. It's not like that at all. I just don't have a desire to play that game right now, as with other games. So not trying to be snooty, so I apologize. Let's see here. Did you play Charterstone with... I'm not going to, Aguilera 631. I'm not going to fully answer that question. I'm just going to say yes. I just don't want to give any spoilers. That's all. That's bordering on spoilerific. I guess not really, but yeah. How was Ticket to Ride France? Was it the best expansion? I think I like UK better, but I was intrigued with the mechanism of France, where you had, whenever you took tickets, you had to choose another link in the road. And earlier in the game, when you were trying to still formulate your routes, that was helpful to an extent, because it helped you, it kind of helped you plan your quickest, most efficient route based on what you had in your hand. But later on in the game, it kind of switched over to, okay, I don't need to plan my route out anymore. How can I mess up somebody else's? And so it naturally evolved. And I thought that was pretty cool. I don't think it was the best expansion. I think I still like UK better as far as the differences that map gives you in playing than the Ticket to Ride France map. But I really did enjoy the France one. I'm looking forward to, hopefully, in the near future, giving the Wild West side a go as well. Let's see here. Has a beard stretch goal been added so we can enjoy Sam with the beard all year round? No, that's silly. I don't know. We'll see. Again, my wife is a larger determining factor, and I don't think Tom would ever make that a stretch goal, because that's just silly. Let's see here. Clank in space or Edge of Humanity? I wouldn't equate the two, first of all. Now, if you're talking about which one should I purchase, I can't tell you that, because I don't know what your specific likes and dislikes are. I think they both have their, Edge of Humanity has that, post-apocalyptic, Dead of Winter, a Walking Dead vibe to it. You're trying to survive in this post-apocalyptic dystopia that it's, you got to think differently and all this other kind of stuff. Clank in Space is just kind of like a fun frolic on top of a really cool design, mechanically speaking. They both have their merits, and I don't know that I would probably say that Clank in Space is a quote unquote better design, but at the same time, Edge of Humanity is also a good design and very fun game to play. So again, I think it hits on two different cylinders. I don't think you can equate the two, and I wouldn't. So sorry, I can't give you a complete answer on that one. Have I already tried Project Elite? I have, and if you enjoy that fast-paced, real-time thing of rolling the dice and knocking out things as fast as you can, and it's really a chaotic type feeling thing. If you like that kind of thing, then that's right down your alley. I'm teeter-tottering on it a little bit because I kind of enjoy it, and the game goes so fast that it doesn't really amount to much as far as my dislike of that real-time aspect of the game, because I really don't like that in games. But with this one, I'm a little bit more forgiving because it does play so quick and fast. So I did enjoy it. I think the models were lackluster in the beginning, but if they can get that fixed, it's a pretty cool game. Let's see here. What kid names did you and your wife consider but decide not to go with? Well, with my son David, we were actually going to name him Peter. And we had a couple of different spellings and versions of that, but it was going to be Peter. But when he was born, his brother Michael held him, and well, not held him. We held David, and while Michael was in the room, and there was such a difference there, it was like David and Goliath. So that's how David got his name. Michael got his name. I don't think we really thought too much about his names at all. Because we pretty much went into that wanting to honor my great-great-great-grandfather who brought the Healey family over from Ireland with his name. And so Michael Patrick Healey was his name, and so we gave my son Michael, his name, all three. With Catherine, we didn't really bat too many names around because I've always liked the name Catherine, and I kind of decided early on that that's what it was going to be. And my wife, and again, I can't remember. She probably had a number of different. We had a lot of names that we weren't going to name her for a number of different reasons. People that have treated us poorly in the past or whatever. And whenever we hear that name, that's the person we think of. That kind of stuff. We had names like that we had. Jettisoned, but I can't remember any names. Now with Aiden, we had we almost didn't name him Aiden because it was a very popular name when he was born, and we wanted him to have kind of a little bit of a difference, but we decided to give his difference in his middle name Connell, Connall, which is a more Gaelic version of Connor. So that's kind of the evolution. And again, I'm sorry, I don't have any actual names except for the one that David, but it was an interesting process. Let's see here. how do I go about getting your Blood Rage Mini? Just got the game and it's fantastic. Well, I'm glad you're enjoying Blood Rage. We might have a few kicking around, but as far as I know, we are out of Blood Rage Minis. And I don't know if, I don't think any more are going to be made. I have no idea, but I don't think they are. So you might be out of luck. I'm sorry. Let's see here. Skipping down a few. I apologize if I'm skipping some of your guys' stuff. What games do you, Tom and Z, plan to play on live playthrough? Well, we're going to be playing Otis later on today at 2 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. But really, it's just whatever we feel like it. Right now, we're trying to play as many new Essen releases as we possibly can. We figure that we know we're not going to be able to get the reviews done right off the bat, but at least we can give you a playthrough and give you an idea for how the game plays and looks, and then we'll get to the review later on. But really, it's just we talk about it and we discuss, and we usually have like 3 or 4 different options that are available, and we just say, well, let's do this one today, and we'll do that one tomorrow, and so forth and so on. So yeah, that's it. Philip Boyer says, good morning from Colorado. Good morning. Any word on how demoing the Geek and Sun table with you at PAX Unplugged will go? Also, is anyone getting anything at this point? Is anyone getting anything at this point? I don't know what that question means, but Tom is going to be talking to Geek and Sun today to try to hammer out some of those details. I am probably going to be demoing at least, probably only, one game of Blood Rage every day at PAX Unplugged. So I don't know how that's going to happen. It might be like a first come, first serve type thing. But again, I haven't a clue. Tom's going to try to hammer out some of the details with Geek and Sun today. Good evening from Belgium. All right, Anthony. Is it Anthony or Antoni? Well, hello. I just want to say my wife and I love you, Sam. Thank you. And we love Tournament at Camelot. Awesome. That's a great game. My favorite trick-taking game. That's super great. Sean says, have you all had a chance to play Dinosaur Island yet? No. Tom played it last night at our game night at Cool Stuff in Kindle. And he says he really enjoyed it. So we might be playing it live, but we don't know. We're just going to have to make that decision later on. Let's see. What's my favorite Memoir 44 expansion? Wow. Probably, I would have to say probably either the Mediterranean Theater or the Eastern Theater expansion packs. The ones that introduced the Brits and the Soviets. Those are probably my 2 favorite ones. Although I really do enjoy playing Memoir 44 Overlord. So I like all those expansions as well. But as far as with base game is concerned, I think you can still get both Mediterranean and Eastern Theater. So those are probably my 2 favorite. Let's see, skipping down some more. That's interesting. Can you recommend a combat game for someone who doesn't usually like combat games? Is that you, Max? All right, Max. I think it might be you. A combat game for somebody who doesn't usually like combat games. Wow. Huh. Well, I guess my first question would be, why do you not like combat games? Is it because you don't like, is it because you don't like, simulation of war? Is it because you don't like that as a theme in games? Or is it the conflict part? You don't like being adversarial to your opponents? Or, yeah, there's so many different caveats that I think accompany that question. As far as a game that simulates combat well and doesn't, still kind of feels like just a game, man, I feel kind of cheesy saying it, but Memoir 44 really kind of fits that bill. Combat games, though, man, dude. Jamaica has a combat mechanism in it, but it's really just a racing game. It's not a combat game, but I mean, that's like a baby steps type thing where it's a little bit of combat, not a whole lot, and then maybe go on from that. Wow, I have to give that more thought. Ask me on another live Q&A. I did not see Blade Runner 2049. I really wanted to, but and I don't mean to sound like a prude here, but it's a rated R film, and I'm very picky on the rated R films that I go to watch, and so I've been gun shy with Blade Runner for 2049. So there you have it. But I haven't seen it yet, no. Will we be streaming Time Stories again sometime soon? I don't know. It depends on when they come out with a new expansion. I know we brought something back from Essen. I don't remember what it was. I just remember seeing the pack. So, I don't know. All right, Benjamin. You love Blood Rage and Shadespire. Where do you draw the line between cool miniatures and quote-unquote glorified markers? This coming from someone who bought the minis for Anachrony. Well, if there are a defining set of glorified markers, it is definitely the mechs for Anachrony. So I understand what you're saying. And you know what? It really depends, because there's a point at which, for example, one of my favorite games that could have miniatures in it but doesn't is a game called V Commandos by Triton Noir. And they have actually shown some people's copies of the game that they have used miniatures with, and it really takes away from the game. There are so many miniatures on the board that it clouds the board too much, and you can't see some rather important features of the board or the map. So I think that would probably be the defining moment. With something like Blood Rage, yeah, they're kind of glorified markers, but at the same time, they don't cloud the board because they are set in a very specific place within each province. And each province can only hold so many of them based on the number of villages that are in that province. So when you see a model there, you know that it is taking up one of those spots in that village. So it provides a 3D aspect that a 2D chit or token would be less defining. So yeah, somewhere in there is where I would draw the line. Would the game be better? Would it be less clunky with a token or a standee and not a miniature? Then yeah, you've jumped the shark. But if it is still functional and you can have those cool miniatures, then I'd say go for it. I really like having miniatures. That 3D aspect to a game really makes it pop, and the aesthetic pleasure that I get from that is undeniable. Are Blood Rage exclusives necessary to enjoy the game? Absolutely not. You can enjoy the game. Now, I think with some of those other monsters that are there, and I also like the Gods expansion as well, because it provides different rules for different provinces. I think those enrich the game, but they are not necessary for enjoyment. I'll completely enjoy just a regular old core box version of Blood Rage any old day. I do enjoy all of the different expansions, and if possible, I use all of the expansions. But I can still have some fun with some just regular some core box Blood Rage. There you go, Max. Let's see here. Brian, Favorite gaming memory thus far is playing Blood Rage at Dice Tower Con this year. Was a true highlight. Very cool. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. I enjoy playing it too. I love teaching the game, and I love having that experience. So I'm glad you enjoyed it, and it was very fun. Very fun. Some people consider a war game to be a game that includes a chain of supply. Some consider a war game to have no plastic. As you can see, there are lots of opinions on what disqualifies a game. That was an do People's Choice. I noticed you guys joking around about Memoir 44 being a war game. People don't think it's not. That's a double negative. Okay. Do they? Yes, there are many people, and these are those, I think, these are those people who are traditional war gamers, like the chits, where you have a stack of chits and you move them around the board, and games like Advanced Squad Leader and Combat Commander, and I know I'm missing a whole bunch of them. There's so many out there, but they're more detailed, actually true simulations of historical war combat than Memoir 44 is. And Memoir 44 is like a very light version of the same kind of thing. So I get what they're saying. There is a genre of games that are called war games, and Memoir 44 is not one of that genre of war games. However, it is still a war game, in my opinion, because it very lightly and loosely simulates historical war combat in a very light and palatable way to a number of different people. So in my opinion, it simulates war, it's a game, it's a war game. But in their opinion, they have a little bit of a different definition than I do. So I get what they're saying, but I still like poking fun. Will Dice Tower Top 100 be coming to Dice Tower Audio? Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Let's see here. What did you think of Village Attacks at Essen? Well, I have to be a little bit political in my answer here. I did enjoy the demo. I had fun demoing the game with the designer and a few other people that were there at the booth. And I am eagerly awaiting to see if we get a review copy of it so that I can give my final, full, complete thoughts on it. But I did enjoy it. It has some cool mechanisms, and it has a lot of good things going for it. But that's just kind of a first impressions more than anything else, because I really haven't been able to take a look at the rule book. I haven't been able to delve into the different scenarios that's going to come in the rule book, I believe. So there's some wiggle room there, but initially I enjoyed my demo, and we'll have to see after that. Sorry, excuse me. Can you review Fireteam Zero? I also asked Tom, but it's more like your kind of game. Well, I have played Fireteam Zero once, and I believe Z was going to do a review of that. I thought he had already done it. But one of his playtests before he did the review, or maybe he hasn't done the review yet, was with me. And I did enjoy the game. It was fun. It was one of those games that came in a really big box, and I was like, whoa, rulebook's going to be horrendous to get through. You know, it just had that look to me. But when Z played it, I was like, really? That's it? And I was I kind of wished I had taken that for a review, because sometimes I look at a box and I'm like, oh man, it's going to be a bear to get through. And that's what I did with Fireteam Zero. And then when Z pulled it out, it was very simple, very, very easy to understand rules. And I was like, man, all right. Well, maybe in the future sometime. But I think Z already has. Let's see here. Got about 10 minutes left here. So, Mauricio, have you ever designed a board game or thought about it? Yes, I have thought about it. And I do have one that's just kind of sitting there not doing anything. And am I ever going to get it off the ground? Probably not, but I wouldn't be opposed to giving it a shot. I'm at an end to my thought process, and I need somebody else to look at it and take it to the next level. And I don't know anybody that's willing to do that. So I don't even know if it's worth it. See, that's the thing. So maybe somebody can take a look at it and say, nah, this isn't worth it, which is completely possible. Let's see here. What am I drinking? I am drinking Bai. Let's see here. I've never played Space Empires 4X. I apologize. I did not have a chance to check out Small World Sky Islands at Essen. We do have a copy of it, and I'm looking forward to giving it a try. But while I was at Essen, I wasn't able to do it. Have I ever tried flavored water with 0 calories? Yes. The problem is it's kind of hit and miss, because sometimes flavored water means like it's water with just a hint. Like, I mean a hint. Like, not even a hint, just like a slight wink and a glance of flavor to it. And that's not good to me. Usually, if I'm going to drink that, I might as well just drink water. But having something like a Sobe Life water that has 0 calories in it, and it also has a lot of flavor in it as well, that's what I usually like to do. And strawberry is my favorite fruit. So, well, I don't know. Is strawberry my favorite? I like bananas too, but I don't like banana drinks. I guess strawberry is my favorite juicy fruit, not the gum. Apologize. The Bears. Yeah, not this year, buddy. The Bears. But maybe, right? Trubisky is looking good. Last I heard, at least. So we'll see. We'll see. They have a lot of other hurdles. Saw you playing Joan of Arc at Gen Con. What did you think of it? I really like the concept of Joan of Arc. And I like what they are saying is going to be coming in the core box, with all of the different terrain and the buildings and the trees and the smaller miniatures, so you can fit more miniatures into the box. I like the fact that it's built upon history, but it's also built upon different legends and myths that were well reported and historically documented as, as being thought processes that the people had. And those are being used as the different reasonings why there's a werewolf running around town and all that kind of stuff. It's not just because werewolves, man. No, it's actually well documented that people were reporting that there was a werewolf in this whatever. And so I like all of that. The fantastical element has a historical basis. And I like that. I really do. And the size of the game and the mechanisms, they're all pretty fun. But again, much like with Village Attacks, I haven't really been able to dig into it because I don't have a copy for review yet. So hopefully that'll happen, but I'm not holding my breath. I try never to assume that we're going to get a game for review, because I know that publishers have a limited number of, well, generally speaking, have a limited number of copies that they send out for review. So maybe we'll get one, maybe we won't, but I don't know. Let's see. Okay, got about 5 minutes left here. So we're going to do that tried and true. I'm sorry. Oh, man. I missed so many. I'm sorry. Goodness gracious. All right, let's go ahead and do that lightning round where you give me 2 choices and I have to choose one of them, or a third one that I think of as I read your 2 choices. So we're going to go ahead and do that. Busted out Tannhauser with my game group and had a blast. Ugh. All right. What faction in Tannhauser is my favorite? And at the risk of seeming over patriotic, I really do like the American faction the best. But there you go. Let's see here. So let's go ahead. That's lightning round. Let's go ahead and do that for the last, 5 minutes. I'm just waiting on things to come up here in the chat. Wetting my whistle a little bit there. Oh, that's better. While we're waiting for more of those to show up, are we playing Seventh Continent with Tom? We have played it once, and hopefully we'll be able to play it more. Yes, but for right now, we're just kind of getting on. All right, there they are. Beard or mustache? Well, obviously beard. Cyberpunk or steampunk? I played Cyberpunk in college, the role-playing game. Not college, high school, the role-playing game. So I'll go with Cyberpunk. Commands and Colors or Battlelore 2.0? It's pretty much the same basic system. So I'm going to go with Commands and Colors. Let's see, above and below versus near and far. I'd say near and far. Cheese, curds or cottage? I like cottage cheese, but I don't know. I haven't eaten cheese curds too much. Just like balls of fat. So I try to get it over. Ray Kenobi or Ray Palpatine. I'm gonna pass on that one. Let's see, Canada or Mexico. I don't know. I've been to Mexico, as ports of call on a cruise before, and I had a good time, but I've only been to Canada once, so I'm going to say I'm not going to choose one or the other. I'll put it that way. D6 or D8? You're really thumping that bell, aren't you? I'm going to say D8. Dice or cubes? I don't know. Seafall or Charterstone? Charterstone. Gremlins or Die Hard? Best Christmas movie. No, why'd you go there, dude? Why'd you do that? Not answering Tom Brzee. That's not funny. Trains, planes, or automobiles? That was a good movie. Funny. Olfactory stimulation or auditory stimulation? I'm going to go with auditory because olfactory that's dangerous. Seven Wonders or Seven Wonders Duel? I like Seven Wonders better, although Duel is a very good two-player implementation of that game. White or rye? I have a good joke that is actually part of the punchline. I have to tell that in another Q&A sometime. Q&As or top 10s? Both I enjoy for different reasons. Hero Quest or Sword and Sorcery? I'm going to go with Sword and Sorcery because it's available. John Wayne or Clint Eastwood? Ooh. Clint Eastwood was definitely my era of Westerns, but I do really enjoy John Wayne movies as well. Star Wars Rebellion versus Z. Am I an Empire or the Rebellion? I will probably take the Rebellion if that ever happens. Big capital I, big capital F. Rifle or battle axe? Battle axe. Churchill or Twilight Struggle? I've never played Churchill, so I have to say Twilight Struggle. Sneeze or cough? Cough right now because it's not my sinuses, it's my throat. Innis versus Blood Rage. Blood Rage is better. I like the game better. Blood Bowl or Imperial Assault? Ugh. I wouldn't put those two together, but right now I'd probably have to say Blood Bowl. Just because it would be easier to get to the table for me. Dungeon Commander, Shadespire, hands down. Waterdeep or Midgard, hands down. England or Germany, not choosing between the two, just like with Canada and Mexico. I'm not going to do that. Let's see. Gloom Haven or Scythe? I'm going to go with Scythe, just because I've played it more often. Cry Havoc or Joan of Arc? Can't say that because I've only played Joan of Arc the once. God of Asgard or Mystics? I would go with Gods of Asgard. I think they change the game more than the Mystics do, and I like the way they do it. Let's see here. Scooting down some more. Just a couple of more minutes. Donuts, plain or chocolate? I like Krispy Kreme, so I'm going to go with plain. Krispy Kreme is better plain. Francis Drake or Jamaica? Jamaica, although I like Francis Drake. Temple of Doom or Crystal Skull? I'm going to go with Temple of Doom. This is one of the cases where the older is better. Photosynthesis or Dragon Castle. Oh. Component-wise, Dragon Castle. Gameplay-wise, that's a little bit more even, I think. But I might give it out to Photosynthesis. John Candy or Chris Farley. They were both epic. But I'm going to go with Chris Farley. Heavy metal or hard rock? Metal. Mythic Battles or Joan of Arc? I don't know yet. I have very limited experience with both of them. Tannhauser or Shadespire? Probably as far as experience is concerned, I'll go with Tannhauser, but I really enjoy Shadespire, and it's available, so which is more than Tannhauser can say. And just a couple more. Zombies or Minions? Minions. Cthulhu or Zombies? Zombies. Zombicide or Mechs and Minions? Zombicide. Stormcast or Bloodbound? Stormcast. All right, that's it, folks. I'm going to go ahead and close it down here. We are going to be shutting down for a little bit, and we'll come back later on in a couple hours for a live playthrough of Otis. So be sure to tune back in then. Throw Punch Lunch is coming out later on this afternoon as well, episode 33. So you can look forward to that as well. Thank you for joining me. I appreciate it. I apologize for my voice, but hopefully it'll get better over the next couple of days. See you guys later on. Bye-bye.
You need to end it.
I know.